Aloha and thank you for watching This Is Now. Let's start with the latest coronavirus numbers from the State Department of Health. Health officials say one more patient with COVID-19 has died, bringing Hawaii's official death toll to 164. DOH is also reporting 101 new cases today, 86 on Oahu, 14 on the Big Island, and 1 on Maui. The state is 1 week away from launching its pre-travel testing program, but officials are still trying to nail down some key details, and many leaders are still pushing for visitors to take a second test upon arrival. This has drawn criticism nationally. Here's CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg.
Right now, the islands of Kauai, Maui, and the Big Island are rebelling. They're claiming to the governor they're not ready to reopen. They don't want to reopen. And the governor's insisting that they do. This is crazy time again. We don't have a clear picture yet. The only thing we know for the moment is that Oahu, Honolulu, of course that's where Honolulu is based, will reopen on the 15th. You still have to have a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours of arrival. Otherwise, you're going to get quarantined all over again. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to allow you to fly to a neighbor island, which so many people like to do. So the smartest thing you can do for Hawaii right now, actually the smartest thing you do for yourself right now, if you want to go to Hawaii, wait. I said it last week, I'm saying it again. Take your time. Wait for this all mess to die down because they clearly do not have their act together.
Meanwhile, some of Hawaii's health leaders say the state's healthcare system is ready to welcome back visitors. Casey Lund has more.
As it stands now, the current plan is to allow that pre-travel testing program to move forward as scheduled for October 15th with just a singular test that would allow those trans-Pacific travelers to avoid that 14-day quarantine. I want to get into testing a little bit more, but first I want to bring on Hilton Rathel with Healthcare Association of Hawaii. And Hilton, I really want to talk big picture about our healthcare infrastructure right now. Have we done enough? Are we ready for that pre-travel testing program to welcome tourists back even in a limited capacity? Did that second stay-at-home order do enough, and are we ready?
We believe we are ready. Our hospitals and healthcare system has been working very hard to take care of the people of Hawaii and prepare for an increase in tourism. We understand how vital tourism is to the economy of Hawaii, not only for our healthcare workers, but for the state in general.
And I also want to talk about testing, the debate over the second test. So my question to you is, do you believe that we need a second test? And is it feasible right now to put that into place? Do we have the equipment and the manpower necessary to process that second test?
No, at this point in time, we do not have anywhere near the capability to do a second test. Now, the first test, which is that getting a PSR test within 72 hours of departure from the last location that people are flying into from the mainland or other parts around the world, is a very important step in screening out individuals who may be potentially positive. Now, is it possible that some will get through? Absolutely. No system is perfect, but we are very supportive of the surveillance testing, which the governor plans to do to test a random number of people who come into the state with a test to get a better idea of who may be getting through.
Meanwhile, there's no clear plan for inter-island travel. The quarantine is still in effect, and while we were here this morning at the Daniel K. Inouye International Airport, we asked travelers what they thought.
I think they should maybe be doing that second test. Maybe they should. I'm not sure why they're not doing it, but you know, they don't have the hospitals there if it gets really bad, and it's smaller islands and it's going to go faster. So personally, the no quarantine show up thing, I'm not a big fan of because most people aren't doing it.
One new piece of information did emerge yesterday. Maui Mayor Mike Victorino said that Maui County residents won't have to quarantine traveling between Maui County islands like Lanai and Molokai, but it seems that many other neighbor island mayors are still really weary of Oahu residents traveling to their counties without a robust testing system in place. Now, there's a lot to get into with the pre-travel testing and the inter-island quarantine. We have more information, including where you can find a test, online at hawaiinewsnow.com. at the Daniel K. Inouye International Airport. I'm Casey Lund for This Is Now.
Some of Hawaii's public school students could be returning to campuses as soon as Tuesday, but leaders are still working out key protocols, including what to do if a student or teacher tests positive. The health department says it has a specialized team to help schools, but school staffers are resisting. The CDC also issued new guidelines saying the virus could linger in the air for up to an hour, raising concerns about ventilation in classrooms.
An air conditioner in and of itself is not necessarily bad. As long as there's air exchange, whether it's through a window or through an air conditioner, it's more how crowded is the classroom? Are people able to be 6 feet apart? Are people able to wear masks?
The DOE has different metrics for each county and the various levels of education. The teachers union says DOE area superintendents are being allowed to decide whether to reopen campuses in their districts, which adds to the confusion. The state says it has hired more contact tracers in anticipation of the pre-travel program. We're told there are now 300 statewide, with 200 others in reserve. More than 200 active contact tracers are on Oahu, 52 on Maui, 40 on Hawaii Island, and 2 on Kauai. Turns out COVID talks didn't entirely stop. Howard Dykes has more in your business report.
It now appears the Trump White House simply replaced the previous negotiations with a list of take-it-or-leave-it items. Airline assistance was first in the list, and Stephen Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi conferred today over that. Actually, House Democrats tried passing that on Friday, but were blocked by House Republicans. And Senate Republicans also tried it, but were blocked by members of their own party. With airline traffic down 70%, more international airlines are scaling back. Austrian Airlines slashes winter capacity. EasyJet Switzerland cuts back on aircraft and cuts 70 jobs. But air cargo carrier DHL is adding flights from Brussels to Miami to carry sensitive pharmaceuticals like vaccines. Planet Hollywood Resort in Vegas opens today. The casino will be open 7 days a week. The hotel rooms for weekends only. Planet Hollywood is owned by Caesars Entertainment, which already opened Caesars Palad, Harrah's, and Bally's. New jobless claims came in hot. 840,000 last week, surprising given that airline layoffs hadn't hit yet.
Most of the lagoons at Ko'olina are closing to the general public until early next year. Resort management says the closures are because of health and safety risks related to the coronavirus pandemic. Lagoons 1, 2, and 3 will be off limits to everyone except hotel guests and vacation club owners. The parking lots of those lagoons will also remain closed. Lagoon 4 will be the only one open to the general public until at least February 1st, when the resort plans to reopen all of the lagoons. The second presidential debate is set for next week Thursday, but it's looking like it's going to get pushed back. The Debate Commission announced today that the second debate will be virtual due to the COVID outbreak at the White House. The president, who has tested positive himself, responded by saying he is not going to waste his time on a virtual debate. Now both campaigns are saying it should be pushed back by a week to October 22nd. If that happens, the third and final debate could happen on October 29th, right before the November 3rd election. Meanwhile, President Trump says contracting COVID-19 was a blessing, and he's now promoting an experimental drug by Regeneron as a miracle cure.
But I think this was the key, but they gave me Regeneron, and it was like unbelievable. I felt good immediately. I want everybody to be given the same treatment as your president, because I feel great. I feel like perfect. So I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise.
The Regeneron treatment is an antibody cocktail. Its goal is to give patients powerful antibodies to boost their immune response. It is currently seeking emergency approval from the FDA. The president says he will make the treatment free, but did not explain how he would do it.
How's it on this Thursday? Great conditions out there. It's beautiful, but we could use more rain. We're not going to get rain in the short term, at least for the next several days, although sometime between Sunday and Monday, that little mass of moisture, the leftovers from Hurricane Marie, are due into the state with a few more showers. Again, we're talking about Sunday night through Monday. Not a whole lot of rain, but at least there's going to be an increase in those showers is expected about that time. Now, those winds are going to run a little on the soft side today, mostly under 15 miles an hour. But at least we'll have a trade wind breeze for much of the state except for Kona, and that means at least humidity levels won't be going through the roof today. Still, though, it's going to be hot. A lot of places will run past 90 degrees, including Kahului. Remember, yesterday, Kahului got to 94. They could get to that again today. The saving grace, of course, those steady trade winds. Now, as far as the surf, we have fun waves island-wide, mostly dropping, but still maybe some head-high sets up in the country on the west side and in town. And the east shore is still getting that tropical cyclone swell. That's going to be dropping as well. Now, more swells are ahead for the south shores this weekend. Nothing big, but at least it's not going to go flat. So a long stretch of fairly dry weather, at least through Sunday. And then Sunday night through Monday, we're hoping for a few more showers. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
And now for some good news. A Hilo High School graduate has won this year's Nobel Prize for Chemistry for her pioneering work in gene editing. UC Berkeley professor Jennifer Doudna is the co-recipient of this year's prize, along with French scientist Emmanuel Charpentier. In 2012, they developed genetic scissors as a way to alter DNA. This method, known as CRISPR, could help cure inherited diseases. Doudna spoke about it in 2018 at UH Hilo.
And I actually think that that's, to me, a more desirable way to make changes to plants. And I also think we're going to need this technology going forward because, frankly, we're facing big challenges with climate change and pests.
This is the first time an all-female team has won the Nobel for Chemistry. On Tuesday, astronomer Andrea Ghez, who worked for decades at the Big Island's Keck Observatory, won the Nobel Prize for Physics.